Yes, I think it's another escalation as to what's happening. Crimea is a critical area for Russia. Then Ukraine realizes that if they break this pinch point, this arterial route that goes onto the island, it can absolutely materially impact Russia's ability to then operate their military attacks from that island. So I think it's all part of a distraction to absorb Russian forces back onto the Crimea itself. And I think we're seeing the beginnings of the counteroffensive move up into another gear.
Yeah, indeed so. What did you make of what your Defence Secretary said last week when it came to the armaments being sent from the UK to Ukraine?
I don't know the details of those. I think these were private conversations which perhaps spilled out. Britain's got a brilliant track record of perhaps leaning into supporting Ukraine more so than other nations. And there has been perhaps a timidity. We've been too risk averse from the very, very start. It's Britain that has led the way. And it's Ben Wallace very much that has pursued that, moving from NLAWs, those anti-tank weapons, to training Ukrainians on Salisbury Plain, to then the tanks, of course, and then the long-range missiles. So I think we've done very, very well indeed. Clearly, there's going to be some strong discussions behind the scenes, and sometimes these leak out. But I would say that both Boris, just from leading on from Boris Johnson's support for the war, then Rishi Sunak's, but all the time, Ben Wallace has been that consistent defense secretary, building that relationship with President Zelensky. I think we've got a very, very strong and powerful relationship with Ukraine, and quite right so.
NLAWs, or Glenfiddich, as it was referred to, encoded messages with his Ukrainian counterpart. It's definitely worth a read in the Sunday Times, that reference. Meantime, you've been in Afghanistan. Tell me what's been going on there.
Yeah, an astonishing visit. I have to say, I went out with the Halo Trust, the amazing British demining NGO. And I returned to Helmand province. I drove there, crossed to Kandahar, and then extensively in and around Kabul. And, hold your breath, but this is a vastly different country. Security is hugely improved. People are able to travel freely, as I did. There is the widespread corruption that defined the former president Ashraf Ghani's government has vastly reduced. And that opium market, the illegal trade that blighted the nation's economy, has seemingly gone. This is a war-torn nation that has not experienced relative peace like this since the 1970s. And it really does show. The streets are bustling, everybody's going about their business, and the Taliban authorities, I have to say, no more visible than any other Asian country. And there's big questions for the West as to why we didn't do more to provide livelihood support. In Helmand province, for example, there are just solar panels everywhere dotting the landscape. Every dwelling, every household, all the fields are powering irrigation systems that feed the fields with cotton, growing cotton, fruit and wheat. I don't remember seeing any of this when I visited a number of times over the last 10 years. We don't have our British embassy open yet. We really do need to re-engage with the Taliban, because otherwise this frail country, the economy is still on edge. They need Western international support. We can't do that by shouting from afar. The EU embassy is now open. I really do encourage Britain to re-engage with the Taliban to make sure that we don't see another cycle of terrorism and indeed instability that would lead to huge mass migration.